Welcome to the Break the Stigma podcast, where each episode we focus on raising awareness and debunking the negative stigma behind mental health.
Hey, what's up? I'm Angel. My co-host Kiana could not make it today, so I will be hosting by myself. And here we have our very first guest on the podcast today. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm her mother, Nicole.
This is my mom, and I brought her on here today to talk about anxiety and its effects. That's what this episode will be revolving around. My mom has struggled with anxiety for almost her whole life, or at least half of it, and I struggle with anxiety as well. And so we're just here to talk about the symptoms and its effects on everyday life and debunking some stigma surrounding it. So my first question to you is, when do you think, what's your earliest memory of having anxiety?
Well, because I don't remember a lot about my childhood, just because I have a terrible memory, not because it wasn't awesome or anything like that, I would say in high school, definitely, I remember certain situations, like if I went on a class trip, and anytime I was out of my comfort zone, my anxiety always acted up. If I was to go to a hotel with my boyfriend, now my husband, I would instantly have to vomit at least once, and then I would be fine. So any places that sometimes even a movie theater, not like the one in Freehold, I was fine, but if we went to one like in Amboy or someplace else, my anxiety would act up. I worried about, I don't know if I worried about a shooting or what would happen. I would always think that because I'm not in my comfort zone, that something would happen.
Yeah.
And that's what I remember.
Do you think that was ingrained in you from a young age? Do you remember if your parents always told you don't go places where you're not familiar because bad things could happen?
I never thought of it like that. It could be. I wonder if that's something that was, and that's why. They definitely did tell me that, never go alone, stay local. So maybe that could be a reason. Yeah.
But you thought that there would be a shooting or something?
Yeah, I would just think that something bad was gonna happen. I don't know, and not all the time. In the movie theater, I would worry that something bad would happen. But if we went to a hotel or even Atlantic City, I wasn't worried that something would happen. I was just not comfortable. It wasn't in my comfort zone. So then I would just get very anxious, and then I would just instantly vomit. And usually, I would only have to vomit once or twice the most, and then I'll be fine for the rest of the day. It's not like my whole night was ruined and I couldn't do anything. I would just do that, and then I would be fine.
And was vomiting the only thing that helped, or did you ever try doing deep breathing exercises, or nothing worked until you threw up?
I never really, I had such a weak stomach that I would, I never really tried heavy breathing or breathing treatments or anything else. No, not really. Yeah. Because I never went to a therapy or really talked to anybody about it, so I didn't know any other coping skills about how to handle it. I would just throw up, and then I know I would be fine, and then that's it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, back then, do you think that was therapy something that people would go to, or was no one going to therapy?
I never really heard anyone in high school or in school saying, "Oh, I'm in therapy." None of my friends were, and I never heard anybody talk about it. So I don't think it was. Not saying it wasn't a thing, but it definitely wasn't talked upon a lot.
Do you think you would have benefited from something like that, or was it not to the point where it really affected you daily enough to the point where you needed a therapist to talk to?
I think I would have benefited from it after I lost my father, but before that, I don't think that I would have really benefit from it, because it wasn't an everyday thing. It would only be when I would go out in an area that I'm not familiarized with. But after I lost my dad, it came worse, and they actually put me on Xanax for, I guess, just for anxiety, but also to help depression too. I wasn't on it for very long because I have pills just don't digest well in my stomach, I take pills, like when I would take birth control pills, I can feel the pills in my stomach. That's why I really don't like taking pills. I never digest them right. So I didn't really take the Xanax for a very long enough time.
You did?
I guess it did. Like it took it for a very short period of time, and then I was like, no, I'm done.
So you didn't like feel like any benefits from it that you feel like it would have helped you if you continued on?
Yeah, because I wasn't on it long enough.
Yeah.
To know. Yeah, I stopped it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was the point where they said that you needed to be on meds? Like what was going on? That like were you having panic attacks daily? Like what was the point where they were like, okay, you should go on meds?
I guess they just more because I lost my dad, and they knew that like I was going through like the most, hardest point, time in my life. So, it's not like I was having a lot of episodes every night. I definitely was crying myself to sleep every night, and like have like breathe, hyperventilating and like stuff like that. So they're like, let's try this, so you can be more relaxed and be having trouble going to sleep, things like that.
Do you think because I was around when Papu passed away. Papu means grandpa in Greek for those that don't know. Do you think it helped, like having me around? Like would it have affected you a lot more, like if you didn't have a kid to take care of?
Oh, definitely would have been affected, because I was so busy being a mother and distracted. It definitely helped. I was in school, I was working, I was a mom, so I was definitely busy, so that definitely did help. If I didn't have you, I feel like it definitely would have been worse.
Do you like find yourself sometimes still like ever like thinking back to like the night that you lost Papu, and like do you ever think like have flashbacks, or is it just kind of like something in the past now that you
I don't think back on that exact night. I don't really think I have flashbacks. Like I think about I wish he was here, and different memories and stuff but that exact day, I don't really think
about flashback to it and like feel the anxiety.
No, I don't. Definitely don't.
I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to relive that.
Yeah, no.
Do you even remember it?
I do remember it. Yeah.
But it doesn't affect you like to the point where it like comes back.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing I really remember the most about that was that we all had to go to the hospital to say our goodbyes. And I was being stubborn, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna say goodbye, because if I don't say goodbye, then he won't let go. He'll just stay alive. So everybody else went, like my brother, my cousins, obviously Yaya, my mom was there, and everyone was there. And I waited, and I was like, no, I'm not, I'm not doing it. I can't do it. And then I went and did it, and then he passed.
Yeah.
Like he was waiting, but but I was doing it more because I wasn't ready to let go, and I was being stubborn.
Yeah. Do you think like now that you're older, and like I have my dad, and you like watch us in our bond together, that it like helps you out?
Definitely, I do see that, and I love like reliving my memories with my dad, with you and your dad. Every time like I see you guys on the couch, because me and my dad would always cuddle on the couch, or just the way you guys look at each other, or like bond, like you guys. I always wanted that. Like that was like my one big thing. I always wanted you to have like that daughter-father bond that I did, because I had such an amazing experience, and I did not want you to miss out on that. So I'm so happy that you and your dad have that experience.
And were you like glad with the years I did have with Papu that we also had that bond, and you were able to experience that?
I am. And it's weird because now it bothers me more that you're older, that Papu's not here, versus when you were younger. Not to say that it didn't bother me then, but I guess now because you're in college, and I feel like you would benefit and just learn so much more from him now in your life. That it bothers me more that he's not here now than for your aspect,
Yeah, I think about it sometimes too. Like I don't know how to do stocks, or
I don't know
things
like
what a
that.
mortgage is, and like he would have definitely known and been able to teach me that. The school system's very flawed now.
Yeah, you would learn so much, especially you being a college student, like just learning anything about like the house or mortgages or stocks or anything to do with financial, because he was phenomenal with finances and stuff. Like, I feel like you would learn so much from him right now, and I feel like you got gypped for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So going back to the anxiety, you said that like whenever you would go to hotels and stuff that you would like vomit and like it would, was that like an every single time thing, or was it only at certain hotels?
No, every time.
Every time, even if like you knew the hotel and you were.
Oh no, if I knew the place, I was fine.
Okay.
It was a place that I went to that I didn't know. It's happened at like, it's weird because
you guys go to Atlantic.
we went to Atlantic City a lot, so it's
Yeah.
not, but it didn't always happen every time at Atlantic City. So like, I don't know. I guess it's just weird to explain it, you know.
Do you think it's the area, like knowing that AC isn't really the best?
It could be.
area to
It
be
could
in?
be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you were in a hotel in like Rumson, I'm sure it'd be
Right.
like a different story.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because it's like a very rich. town.
Right. Yeah, and I don't. But see, it's weird because remember when we went to Robin's wedding?
Yeah.
I threw up there too.
But did you know the hotel?
I didn't know the hotel, but I was around a whole bunch of people that I knew,
Yeah.
so it was like weird, you know.
Yeah.
But and it was like a fine area, like it was like not like a bad area.
Yeah.
So it's like weird, just like certain things, you know.
What about like whenever we would have to go to hotels for cheer competitions? Like,
No.
I don't ever remember you throwing
No,
up.
I never
Yeah.
did. So it's like,
So what do you think was different?
I don't know.
Was it that I was there?
I don't know. I mean, no, because you were at the wedding, weren't you?
Yeah, I was, but like I wasn't in the same room as you guys.
Yeah. I don't know, like, I can't distinguish what makes it different, like, you know, versus, because I never really sat there and thought about it, like you said, like with AC, because it just happens, like, you know, in different situations. Like when we went to Jamaica and we were on the bus on our way to the airport, I felt like I had to throw up. So, like, you know, like, but when I was in Jamaica the whole entire time, I didn't throw up.
Yeah. Even though we were surrounded by all of our
Yeah,
family
and when
on
we
the
went
bus.
to our vacation in Ocean City, Maryland, I didn't throw up.
Yeah.
So, like, any of my family vacations, I was fine. When I was in Greece on my honeymoon, I didn't, you know, vomit.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it just depends on, like, certain situations, you know?
Yeah, that's definitely strange that like it happens sometimes. So what's the last time, like when you go to AC with Dad now, do you
No.
throw up?
Mm-mm.
So when's like the last time it happened? Do you
The
think?
last time it happened was when you were in the hospital.
Okay.
I had, like, this severe anxiety.
Okay.
And I was throwing, you know, I was vomiting and hyperventilating and couldn't sleep and couldn't eat. So, like, that was the last, and that was probably the biggest one that
The
I
biggest
had.
one.
Yeah.
What do you think? Like nothing would top that besides your dad.
Yeah. No, besides my dad, that was the biggest. That was the biggest scare.
What do you think was like? What was your main fear?
Because I didn't know, like, I couldn't, like, talk to you when I wanted to talk to you, and I didn't know, like, the place that you were in, or like how, if the people were nice, you know, if they were gonna be like keep you there forever, you know, like I just didn't know what the outcome was gonna be, and that scared me. And I knew I didn't have any control of you being like, you know,
Yeah.
especially because you were older, so they weren't talking to me about it. Like, they were being very, like, secretive, like,
Yeah.
you know, which they had to. So that was bothering me because I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't go just grab you and take you out of there. I had no control, so, like, that was just making me bug out.
So with the control thing, because I know with me, I'm like actually working on this in therapy on my own. Like control is a big thing for me. I have to have control over every situation, or I'm really anxious about it.
Yeah.
Is it the same with you? Where like if you can control the situation, it makes you less
Yeah.
anxious?
Yeah. If I can control it, then I'm less anxious for sure. Yeah.
So is that why like you think whenever I was like in high school that like you like telling me like I had to keep that app like 360 on my phone, it made you feel
Yes,
like
well
you're
that
in control of it?
exactly, and it's not even that I wanted you to have that app 360 so I can just be a stalker mom and know, like, oh, Angel was at McDonald's, or Angel was here, or
Yeah.
you know, Angel was. I didn't care. Like, that's like, I needed to just know that you got to point A, point B, because there'd be a lot of times where I'd be like, Angel, tell me, or you forget. But not only that, like, I feared like you getting in an accident and like being unconscious and not being able to tell me where you're at, or like your car flipping over a border and like like no one would know where you're at, you know. And but if I was able to go on my phone and go in, I'm like, oh, Angel's on this street, I could call the cops as I'm like jetting over there to get to you, you know, and know exactly where to get to you if you were in an accident. It was more because of an accident, you know, like if something happened and you weren't able to speak to me to tell me, you know, where you're at, or like if you were in a different area that you don't know and you're lost, or your car breaks down and you're like, there's not like signs, or you're like, Mom, I don't know where I'm at, you know, my GPS got me lost, I don't know the town, I don't know the area, and I'm scared and blah blah blah, you know, and I can't get to you, you know, because I don't have that, you know, you didn't have the app on. But the control thing with the app is definitely, and it's not even like to control you, it's to control my nerves, to know that in the situation that you were fine and I can get to you if you weren't fine, you know.
And for those of you that don't know, that are watching or listening, I was actually in a car accident with my first car. I had the app, I think.
You did have the app, yes.
But was I the one that texted you that I got in an accident, or did you see that I was like stopped?
I saw that you were stopped. No, you told me you got into an accident. Yeah, you told me you got in an accident, and then but you were all shook up and you're like, I'm over here, and I just checked the app and I was able to get to you. Me and Daddy got in the car and it was raining, it was in the morning, you were on your way to work. School, on your way to school, and I was able to get to I knew exactly where you were at because of the app. Yeah. So
you think like without the app you wouldn't have been able to find me, even though I was like right there?
I don't think I would have. No, definitely not. You know, if you weren't able to tell me where you were at, no, for sure not. And that's the thing that I fear the most. Thank God that accident wasn't like a severe accident where you weren't able to talk. Like that's my thing. I get nervous. There's major accidents where people are airlifted to the hospital and they're like unconscious, you know, and you don't know, you know. And as a mother, you need like, you know, you need to know that your child is okay and where they are, you know?
And I think the funny thing is that the accident, well, not really funny, but the accident happened like literally 2 seconds down the road at like the intersection by our house. But I didn't know that you were supposed to stop where the accident happened. So I kept driving and I drove like 5 minutes down.
Down the road, away from where the accident was.
I drove like 5 minutes away and ended up on like our main road before like our intersection, and because I didn't know that you were supposed to stop. But like whenever you saw the other car, did you think it was like a separate accident?
I did. I was confused. I was like, okay, that's one car, but I don't see another car. And then when I got to you and you told me like, no, I had it, and I'm like, oh, I saw that car over by the road. And then and it was just funny to explain to we were trying to explain to the cop that like she didn't need to leave the scene of a accident, but like she was just like, okay, well, I'm gonna
they don't teach that in school. Like,
her plan was to go to Dunkin' before school, and that's what she was trying to do, and then realized like her car wasn't gonna make it.
Because I didn't think it was as bad as it was. Like I thought I like just got like my back bumper like hit or dented or something. I didn't realize that like it was as bad as it was. I'm gonna insert a picture because I think it's like cool to see it. But yeah, I definitely didn't realize how bad it was. But do you think like you were more so like, what do you think like your genuine fear was whenever, like, did you think that I was like gonna be like okay, or like?
I mean, I knew you were somewhat okay because you're like, Mom, I got in an accident, you were talking. But I got nervous when I got to you that like, you know, I didn't know if the glass broke and it hit your face and your face was all like messed up from the glass, or that you had burn marks from the airbag exploding and have burn marks on your face or on your body. I didn't know if, you know, when we had to go to the hospital, if it was going to be any like broken bones or, you know, I wasn't worrying about the car. The car's replaceable. I was worrying about like you know, especially with you having asthma. I was worried about, oh my God, what if she has an asthma attack and I can't get to her in time, you know, and then you can't breathe and then you turn blue and then you die, you know, like, you know how you just think of the extreme.
The thought trail just keeps going. And going.
So I was worried because I didn't know the extent of the accident. I didn't know how severe it was, and I just remember pulling up to you and just running up to you and just being like, are you okay? You okay? You know, and then I went and talked to the cop. Like, I ran right past the cop. Like, the cop was trying to talk to me, and I just went to you. Like, I, like...
Tunnel vision.
Tunnel vision. I didn't even see the cop. Like, I was just like, you know? And then... And then... Daddy was in the car, like, Daddy sat with you and talked to you, and I was like, okay, you handle her, I'm going to handle the cop now, you know? But I just needed to see you. Like, I just remember, like, grabbing you, like, your arms and being like, you know, just like, are you okay? You know, like, just looking from head to toe, like, okay, everything's intact, you know, her face is fine, like, everything's fine, you know?
Yeah,
but,
and
like,
I think this is an interesting question to ask now, because back when I got in the accident, it wasn't a concern because it wasn't going on, but with the Black Lives Matter movement, do you think if now I were to get in an accident and the cop would think that I was like a hit and run, do you think your anxiety would be more so surrounding me getting like shot?
Definitely. Just because when you recently went for blood work and that car hit you and left, and I knew that we had to call the cops and I was at work, I thought about that and I said, Angel, do you need me to be there? Do you feel safe to be there with a cop coming, you know, and being by yourself? Do you need to stay on the phone with me? You know, like all that stuff about the Black Lives. I thought about it then because now it's happened and occurred. Back then I didn't worry about it, but like now I do worry about that. I definitely do. And I was like, I didn't think that I was gonna worry about it until after the situation happened, and after I got off the phone, I was like, wow, I was really worried, you know, that that was gonna be a situation.
And it's crazy.
And I was more worried about how uncomfortable you were gonna be, like what was going through your head. That's why I was like, Angel, have the insurance and everything out. I don't want you reaching in the glove department. Like, do you need me to, you know, I was more worried about what was going through your head because I know how strongly you feel about it. It's not something, unfortunately, since I'm a white person, that I don't have to fear and worry about, unfortunately, but I was more worried for you, you know.
Yeah, and I think it's like interesting because it was only like 2-3 years ago that I got in that accident, and none of it was going on, and then all of a sudden last year, 2020, like shit just hit the fan. And so now it's like, even like if I get pulled over, like even that is like oh shit, like whenever I first got pulled over, I didn't have to worry about anything because none of that was happening. But now, like, if I get pulled over, I'm genuinely like fearing for my life. Even though I'm like white passing, I still like have a sense that like the cop would know that like I'm a person of color, and would just use that as an opportunity to take my life. Yeah,
and I worry about that too. I definitely worry about that with you. I worry about that with Daddy. Before, I never had to worry about if Daddy got pulled over, like, oh, will he make it home to me at night? Now I worry about that. Like when he calls me, like, you know, and I'm like, are you okay? You know, like it's that instant, like, you know, I need to know he's fine before he can tell me why he's calling me, you know? Because I worry about that.
Yeah, me too. Like I never used to think about it. Like, I mean, Black lives have always been in jeopardy. It doesn't just start last year. It's always been, like, people of color have always dealt with injustice. But just last year is when everything happened with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and all of that stuff. And so now, like, I get scared that Dad just going to, like, the auction or just going to the store or doing things like that, there's a chance he wouldn't come home. And, like, I shouldn't have to worry about that. Especially, like, being, like, a kid. Like, I still feel like I'm a kid sometimes. Like, I shouldn't have to fear that my dad won't come home. But, like, it makes my anxiety so
I feel like that's definitely an addition to my anxiety. Like, besides the things that I normally might make my anxiety acting up about not being in my comfort zone. Now that I worry about that every time that Daddy goes out, or if you're getting pulled over, and you know that I worry about that now. So that's just added to my anxiety.
So with that, we're gonna take a short break. You're gonna hear the cute little advertisement that me and Kiana put together for you guys. And we will be back shortly. And we're back! We had a nice little break, discussed what we're going to talk about next. Do you want to talk about what we talked about?
The hereditary. So we were talking about where it actually comes from. So I was saying how my mom and my dad and my yaya and my Uncle Michael, Uncle George, and Uncle Billy all have anxiety, and they're all on medicine for it that they take like on a as needed but daily. I know your great yaya, my yaya, took medicine every day because her anxiety was bad, but like I know Uncle Michael and Uncle George and all them and my dad took it as needed. And Yaya, my mom, she used to, like, the littlest things would trigger her anxiety. It would be like she got in an argument with something or work, and she would hyperventilate in a brown bag, and vomit, but would always hyperventilate. So
do you remember like seeing her do it?
all the time. All you heard was just like the bag, seeing the bag.
Yeah.
That, like, it's such a popular memory in my head. Anytime we went to vacations, she'd bring that brown bag everywhere. Like,
it was the same brown
no,
bag.
not the same brown bag, but like we had so many of them, so
Yeah.
she would just bring them everywhere, and it'd be in a car. Or we went on vacation, and something would trigger her, and she would just hyperventilate in the bag.
Yeah.
And it was just like so scary, because like I remember thinking, oh my God, is she gonna pass out? But she would just hyperventilate, vomit, and then she would be fine. But like,
Yeah.
I'm just so happy I didn't get to that hyperventilating part.
Do you think like her, because my Aya has motion sickness also, do you think her motion sickness is due to her anxiety, or is it like genuinely just?
I think it's just generally probably motion
Yeah.
sickness. Yeah,
You don't think it has to do with the anxiety?
I don't think so.
Because I feel
I
like,
mean, it could go. It could.
Yeah.
She could be anxious that she's gonna drown, and like, yeah. I mean, who knows? Like, she doesn't even like when in the pool. Like, she can't go underwater. She doesn't like when water hits her face in the shower because she gets
Yeah.
anxious. You know, like certain little things, like just definitely, you know, gets her going. You know.
did Great Aya take meds all the way up until she passed, or
Mm-hmm.
the anxiety ones?
Yeah. Yeah. Her anxiety
I
was
didn't know
bad.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Uncle George and all of them, they take it.
As needed.
think.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
Xanax, or do you know?
I can't remember the name of it, but I know like it's a Uncle George takes like a half a pill. It starts with a T. I can't remember the name of it. But they were all on like the same kind. It starts with a T. I can't think
Is it
of
Trileptal?
it. No, I don't remember. I would have to ask Uncle George.
Yeah.
But they were all on it, you know. So anxiety definitely is very hereditary in our family, and obviously you got it from me, and I got it from either my mom, my yaya, everyone, my dad.
Yeah. Where do you think Yaya got it from? Do you remember great grandma having
See, I
anxiety?
don't remember if great grandma had anxiety, and I never got to meet her dad because he passed when she was so young.
Yeah.
So I don't remember if grandma had anxiety or not, because she was so like just always calm and stuff, you know. So
Were you ever like worried, like whenever you were pregnant with me, like were you worried that you were gonna pass like your anxious genetics on to me, or did you not really think about it?
I didn't really think about it. I didn't worry about that as much, you know.
Do you worry about like when it comes time for you to have grandkids that they're gonna be like anxious wrecks?
Right, yeah. Well, now that I see how much it affected you, yeah, I can only imagine like what it's gonna do. So that, yeah. And I feel bad because, you know, like I see you, struggling with anxiety in different ways, and I know that you definitely got that from me.
Yeah.
And you are another one who has to vomit. It's so easy for you to vomit,
Yeah.
you know, and you have a weak stomach just like me. And,
Yeah. I think like I'm hoping that I can stop the line at my kids, because my plan is to put them in therapy like at a younger age.
Yes.
And so I'm hoping that I can like not put them on meds, just in therapy to like talk and hopefully stop the line at the anxious kids there.
Right.
Because it has to stop somewhere. It can't
Right.
just keep going and going and going.
Do you feel like the meds, your anxiety meds, help?
Oh yeah, it's
Because
like
I know you've been for so long suffering from anxiety with no meds to having meds now.
yeah. And I think it definitely it's like a trial and error thing. It took me so many different medication combinations to find out what worked, and being on one medication didn't do it for me, because I don't just have anxiety, I
Right.
also have borderline
Mm-hmm.
and depression, and so I need like different combinations of
Right.
medications. And so the combination now that's working for me is Abilify and Zoloft together, which one's an antidepressant, one's a mood stabilizer and anxiety med. And that combination has like worked perfect for me. I've felt great like ever since I started it. I have an app on my phone. It's called Dailyo, and you can track your mood. And my mood ever since like the day I started my meds has been like up, like all good days, versus like before you could see like the
Yeah.
like it looked like a heartbeat, like,
Yeah.
going up and down. But yeah, there's definitely a huge difference. And I don't want to be on medication forever, but it definitely helps me in like this moment where
Right.
I'm like still in therapy trying to process.
And in college and having so much
Yeah,
going
exactly.
on, working, trying to balance, you know, I can, you know, your life is very stressful. You have so much different things going on.
Yeah.
So I feel like, yeah, you definitely do need it.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, maybe years down the line, hopefully you don't need it, you know.
Yeah, maybe when I have like a stable job and I have like my kids.
Kids to distract you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But right now, like you said, there's just so much going on. I'm
Yeah.
running businesses, I'm going to work, I'm going to
Exactly.
school full time.
Right.
It's a lot of things to manage for one person.
Yes, definitely.
Do you think, what do you think makes you, like, do you think work ever makes you anxious? Or is it just kind of like you got into the point where you're like, oh, gotta go to my 9 to 5, like, this is my life?
Yeah, like, it makes me anxious sometimes now, especially because when I was furloughed for all those months and I got to, like, relax and get things done, and I felt like what the relaxation felt like. So a lot of times I get anxious, like, oh, you know, still have this many hours to go, you know, but yeah, a little bit.
Do you think, like, now that I'm older and, like, we don't have, so my mom and I used to butt heads a lot, but do you think now that I'm, like, older and we, like, have, like, a better relationship that, like, you're less anxious about certain things because you know that, like, I'll come to you versus you having to, like, find out on your own?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely easier now that you're older, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to cut it off here. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in, and thank you, Mother, for joining me
Thank
on
you
my
for having
podcast
me.
today. And we will see y'all next week. Bye.